Here
We are live.
Good morning, good
Absolutely.
afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, welcome to healthierlife.tv. Apologies about the minute or so late. I had it plugged in, the power, but unfortunately I didn't have the switch down. It just decided to throw me out with no power. So anyway, we can deal with that, no problem at all. Today's subject, the key components of a healthy lifestyle whilst pregnant. Now, this is going to be interesting since neither of us have experienced that, but we'll do our best, obviously.
Can't say I've ever been pregnant before.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what it was like. No, I don't really want that. Okay. They do a great job, by the way, ladies. Okay, but first, what we'd like to do is obviously like this video or love it's better. Subscribe to the healthierlife.tv channel, or if you're in YouTube, then again like the video and subscribe, and leave a comment. Enter into some dialogue. It makes it much easier for us, and we get to know what you're thinking, what you like, what you dislike. And it all helps for the algorithm as well. So with that, pregnancy. Well, what can we say? Now, obviously, we're both fathers, so we deal with it from that side, but we don't deal with it from the really, really difficult side.
The 9 month side, you mean?
The 9 months of stuff.
Carrying another human being inside your womb.
Yeah, I mean it's not an easy thing. A few ladies, women tend to get through it fairly easy, right until they have the baby and that. But a lot of people, a lot of ladies, they have so many challenges during their pregnancy, and we're basically today going to talk about the lead up to having a baby. Okay, so now a healthy diet basically is a very, very important part of a healthy lifestyle at any time, but especially vital when pregnant or planning a pregnancy, right? There's also planning a pregnancy, there's being pregnant, and there's obviously after the baby. And they're all very important times, especially for the mother and child or children. So any opening thoughts at all, Warren?
Just to add that, basically what does it mean to have a healthy pregnancy? It's pretty much where the mother feels comfortable and well throughout the process, the 9 month process, without much discomfort other than, for example, morning sickness, or obviously, you're carrying a baby that's growing inside of you, so it becomes a little bit more uncomfortable in that way. And difficult to maneuver, but otherwise, a healthy pregnancy is just that. It's feeling healthy, feeling well, feeling good, without any discomforts, other than the usual things.
What you say, the usual things,
like morning sickness.
Yeah, I know. The usual things for us is about talking about healthy diet. Now, would you say, first of all, that women need to pay more attention, if they're thinking about getting pregnant, during pregnancy and after pregnancy, after having the baby, you think they should pay more attention to their diet?
100%, 200%, especially, especially in all three phases, really. I believe that a lot of mothers, once they've had the baby, they kind of revert back to type, and then they forget the fact that they're actually breastfeeding. And the breastfeeding in itself is you're still giving that baby from yourself. So it's important that your nutrition levels are at the optimum if possible, or at the best that you can afford to do, but be it time, financial, whatever. But most definitely, you want to be planning ahead of the game. If you're planning on having a baby, you want to make sure that, and this doesn't just go for the mother either. Hey? This is applicable to the father too, because at the end of the day, the father's giving the seed. So you want a healthy seed as well. You don't want a father that's debaucherous in his lifestyle habits and feeding your baby. So you want the father to be healthy, you want the father to be cognizant as well, mentally, emotionally, all these things, which is part of health, and then most importantly for the mother. And then during the pregnancy, it's very important. There's certain very key components that enable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So do you need a special diet?
I don't know per se is about a special diet, because you know me, I don't believe in the term diet per se. I'm not a big proponent of that, but what I do believe in is that we just need to be more, like you mentioned, aware of what it is that we are putting into our mouths, and also not just beyond the diet as well, the other certain other things and habits and practices that we're doing on a daily basis that help us to have a healthy pregnancy, or help a mother to have a healthy pregnancy. And I say us because the father is part of the process too. He's
Well,
not
hopefully.
coming. No, but yeah, for when I say us have a healthy
Yeah, yeah.
pregnancy, it's the father's part of it as well. So the father, I believe that fathers should be more engaged with a pregnancy than perhaps many are, in terms of making sure that the mother is eating healthy, making sure that the mother's getting enough rest, making sure that the mother's doing certain other things that she could be doing. So yeah.
So in
But
other
healthy
words,
diet,
well,
not specific.
the answer to the question, do you need a special diet? Probably the answer is no. Then.
No, I wouldn't say a special diet, but I just, because that's also dependent on the pregnancy too.
Yeah.
If a mother has specific health conditions, probably yes. Then a special diet or a specific diet is then relevant. But for the average mother that doesn't have any health complications or medical complications involved, I wouldn't say necessarily that a special diet is needed. Not me personally. I don't really, as I said, prescribe to that mantra. But it's most definitely you want to be watching what you're eating. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's important to eat, obviously, a variety of the right and different foods every
Mhm.
day and get the
Mhm.
right balance of nutrients that
Yeah.
obviously mother and baby will need.
Because remember, you know the baby, although it's part of you, it's made up from you and the father. It is in essence its own being, right? So a baby may need certain nutrients more than others through the pregnancy period. And therefore you want, like you say, you want to have a full range of nutrition coming into your body to cover all the bases if possible. And this is I see, like, when vegan mothers, they miss out on certain key components through the pregnancy because they are vegan, and the baby's not getting certain proteins into in the fetus when it's through its development.
Yeah.
So this is where supplementation plays a key part as well.
Yeah, well, we've got an obvious route when we talk about that, and I'm going to cover that more at the end. So, what about the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals?
Essential, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're going to go through a few of them without going over the top. And
Yeah, I mean, if a mother has a prenatal vitamin supplement, you know, that's with, you're looking at your folate, like folic acid, your what's the other ones I'm thinking of now? Obviously, vitamin D, vitamin B complexes, your calcium. You're looking at thiamine. What else?
thiamine being one of the B vitamins.
You're looking at vitamin C. I didn't mention vitamin C. Niacin. What else? Yeah, I mean, look, calcium. Although with calcium being absorbed into the body, that's a different thing altogether. But if you're taking a calcium supplement, it's going to have some added benefit to it. But yeah, okay.
But again, would you say that the female would be advised to work with someone to make sure that they're on track?
Yeah. Whether it's their gynae, or whether it's their GP, or if they have a nutritional coach of some kind, then you want to be working closely with somebody if you can, if you have access to that facility. Why not?
Definitely.
Why not? Because at the end of the day, you don't really know what's going on inside your body, do you? You know, so if you have somebody
No, I mean,
that can guide you, then
again, I mean, we encourage people to have a varied diet, and obviously with supplementation if you need it, which most people do, funny enough. But I wanted to speak about folic acid. Why does someone need to take folic acid, especially? Obviously, ladies should be taking it before they're pregnant, well before. In fact, they say that maybe you should be taking it all the time. But let's talk about pregnancy. Why would a woman, take folic acid?
Because it basically it helps to with certain birth defects from what I understand, and also in terms of the baby's brain and the spine. What else? I think
you're actually spot on. The brain and the spine are two things that they look at because of these defects that can happen. Now, the average woman, I would say, is pretty clued up on what they should take. Depends on the system they're in, the people they're in contact with. But obviously, there are people, especially youngsters who get pregnant, who sometimes don't have that support and don't have that knowledge imparted on them about wisdom, and the reasons why. But yeah, I mean, folic acid basically helps prevent birth defects. They're known as neural tube defects. So, but I mean, it's important. Do you know how much they have to take on a daily basis?
No.
Should be 400 micrograms.
Actually,
I think I've got the right amount there. But I'm sure you'll let me know if I haven't. But it can take it.
It's actually it's. I mean, folate as such, which is you're looking at 600 to 800, right? Micrograms.
Yeah, well, folate obviously is there. Let's put it this way: folic acid is a B vitamin. Our bodies use it to make new cells, right? Think of skin, hair, nails, and things like that every day. Folate comes under the same sort of umbrella, but some are synthetic, some are natural. Yeah, so that's why you need to take both. Ones are more absorbed than assimilated into the body better. So it's important that you have a varied diet with both of these things. Okay, so baby development is what we're aiming for here, but we're also looking at for the health of the lady, the mother.
The health of the mother, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to speak to us at any time, if you would like more details, especially if you're vegan, and we do have an all-natural advanced immune and nutritional supplement that we're prepared to talk to you about. But that's all I'll say. If you need anything other than that, then come back to us. Obviously, let's hope that you're in touch with people, a healthcare provider, a midwife, a doctor, or another health professional, because it's important. You do need support. Can you do it on your own? Yes, you probably could, but why do it on your own when you've got access to all these professionals?
And look, mothers have been doing it on their own. So many mothers have been doing it on their own for eons.
Yes.
But in today's world, there are so many complications around, more so than in days gone by. In days gone by, it was more about the bacterias and, risk of infections and stuff like that, because people didn't know all the other information, and there was no need to be worried about that because there was no knowledge about that. And today, there's so many other external influences that can be affecting the growth and the development of your baby. I'm talking about things like frequent technology and radiation and all these kinds of things. And then on top of that, so many mothers, I still believe that many people don't realize the negative impact that alcohol and tobacco, for example, has on a pregnancy. I still see pregnant mothers that have got babies in their stomach smoking cigarettes. And I think, how in today's day and age can somebody not realize the damage that they're doing? And then you got alcohol as the other factor. And for many mothers, they just, unfortunately, they live in it. I mean, you're probably going to find people that are watching this right now. They are probably more aware of the risks and the dangers of alcohol and tobacco. But there are still many out there that just don't have a clue. And they may have an inkling into something that it's not good for me to have alcohol, but it's okay. If I have a drink once a week or whatever the case may be, no, it's not okay. It's not okay, but I trust you get where I'm going here. It's just, again, it's just so important for you to be aware that you need to take care of yourself and your baby. It's so important. It's not about being stressed and getting anal retentive about it or anything like that. Going overboard. You don't want to necessarily go overboard with everything and put yourself into a bubble or wrap yourself in cotton wool. You don't want to do that. But at the same time, you've got to be more conscious and cognizant of what the risks are for yourself and your baby here today, because there's so much out there in 2022 and beyond. We're talking about viruses as well today. Viruses are a big part of our lives today. And, you don't want to necessarily be getting a virus around the time when you're pregnant. So you want to make sure your immune system is as optimal as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the key for everyone, but especially, expectant mothers. We should all be working on our immune system. But with pregnancy, is there a need to eat for two, as they say? It's a good little saying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an old saying, but it's not necessarily the case. It's
I reckon you should up your calorific intake.
That's one thing. So, like we mentioned about vitamins and stuff, minerals, so that your micronutrients, you don't necessarily need to be taking much more of that. If you're taking some kind of form of supplementation,
you can't. You don't want to overdo anything.
100%. But if you're looking at your macronutrients, like your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fats, yes, you want to increase it a little bit, and you want to make sure. If you're feeling hungry, then eat something. Don't think that it's going to affect your waistline. Your waistline's affected already. You've got a baby inside of you. So don't worry about that, because once the baby's gone, and if you keep yourself in shape while you're pregnant, then it doesn't really matter. But if you feel the need to eat more food, then eat more food. And if you're not eating while you're pregnant and you don't feel hungry at all, just remember you do have a baby inside of you. So that baby needs nutrition. It needs supplements, and those supplements are the food that you're eating. So all the supplements that you're taking as well. So definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So there is no need to eat for two, but I was reading up, and they reckon about maybe another 300 calories a day, maybe, depending on who the person is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As I say, yes, they do become more hungry. They do have these cravings, and that's another thing on its own about cravings. But we all get cravings, but pregnant, women tend to, win the championship when it comes to cravings. So, but
I remember, Mom. I can't remember what the cravings were. My mother had when she was pregnant with me. I won't. But I remember when I heard what it was at the time, it shocked me that anybody would eat something like that.
Yeah.
The combination of something. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but it was shocking.
Yeah. I mean, you can get. It's like anything. If it's healthy, then it's not too bad, you know. But what a lot of people do is tend to be empty calories, empty calories that are full of fat and sugar, and you know, and we don't want that. And I'm not sure that if the pregnant woman was to look at it and say, they'd probably say, maybe I shouldn't be eating that. But again, sometimes you can't get in the way.
No, you don't want to get in. You don't want to get in the way of an angry pregnant lady. But you know, when a woman says that I have a craving for soda, like soda drinks, like Coca-Cola or whatever, and she's making that as an excuse for drinking while she's pregnant because she's having a craving for it. I don't get on board with that. I'm like, you do realize what damage you're doing? Yeah, but it's what I'm craving. I must need something. No. Your body needs nothing that's inside of that. And
I'd be very careful about using the word no. Yeah, cajole is more like.
Yeah, enough now. Cut the BS. Enough now. So, yeah.
So healthy breakfast every day, and snacking on foods are healthy as much as you can. You know.
Again, also it's from what I understand as well is it's more beneficial to be eating more frequently through the day, smaller meals, just more frequently. You know, so you are supplying enough nutrients for yourself and your baby, you know, as opposed to having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because there's such a big gap between those that you're not necessarily what you're feeding yourself and your baby is like stop, start.
Yeah.
So if you're feeding yourself continuously through the day, you're also then less likely to be putting on too much additional weight as well.
Yeah.
You're less likely to gain a lot of weight that way if you're eating smaller meals just more frequently. So if you're not a grazer like I am, I'm a grazer. You know, if I was an animal, I'd probably be a sheep or a cow. But you know,
a cow comes to mind.
Thanks. But if you're not a grazer, then start perhaps getting into the habit of grazing while you're pregnant. So yes, and just see how that feels for you. But also, again, you want to be consulting with a professional. You don't just want to be, sucking your thumb and hoping something works. No, you just either do your own research, find out what works best for you with your professional, healthcare professional, and then go with that. And if you need to experiment a little bit without too much risk involved. So, for example, like don't stop taking medication. If you're a prescribed medication, don't stop taking that. Consult with your doctor first and let him or her tell you whether you should or should not. You should stop or come off the medication, or you don't need to. And the same with non-prescribed medication as well. The same applies to that. And
it's all about communication, isn't it?
What's that?
It's all about communication with the professional as well.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Discussion and learning, and you grow as a person as well. I'm sure that you learn so much when you get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So when the second one comes along, you should know a lot.
Well, so I'm also very blessed because my wife studied this before she fell pregnant. So and then she taught it to people. She still teaches it to people.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Because of she immediately saw the benefit in educating others about it. So it helped a lot.
We talk about balance in everything that we do. And yes, should you aim to achieve this balance? Yes. As a pregnant woman, can you do it with every meal? Probably not. But you should try to get the balance probably right over the week. Yeah, so that you're getting something of everything, so that you can tick them off and say, yeah, I'm doing that, And
good morning, David.
Morning, David. I can't see the screen, so
Mr. Atkins in the house.
Welcome. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about eating plenty of fruits and vegetables in pregnancy, making sure that we've got these vitamins and minerals,
Carbohydrates.
Carbohydrates, fiber, because it helps with digestion. So obviously, sometimes pregnant women get constipation. Healthy snacks we mentioned already. So you mentioned carbs, foods high in fat and sugar we want to avoid. What about dairy? Because I know it's not one of your favourites, is it?
No, it's not.
So they say things like feta cheese are not good for pregnant women, but obviously they promote dairy.
Because I think for the most part it's because of the calcium, but your body's really not absorbing that calcium. It's not really, because it's minimal. So like I mentioned before, if you're taking a prenatal multivitamin, it's going to have calcium in there. It's going to have some relative impact on your body, but your body's not really absorbing much from what I understand. This is from knowledge I have. But again, some ladies they have cravings for yogurt and things like that when they're pregnant. A lot do actually, and cheeses and stuff. So yes, maybe their body does need more calcium, and they start getting these cravings because that does provide some semblance of calcium absorption for their body. So yeah.
They actually need everything because they need protein as well and starchy foods. I mean, so hopefully you're going to take
your complex carbohydrates.
Yeah, like things like oats and different things like that, rather than the simple ones like sugars.
Proteins are so important, and this is why I touched on with vegans, because vegans do miss out on a lot of proteins that the body needs. And also I just can't remember the name of the protein molecule now. But you get this from meats, and you don't get it from plant sources. What is the name of the protein? Okay, if it comes to me, I'll bring it up. But there's a certain protein, and if anybody hears this and you're curious, come back to me and I'll go look it up for you, and I'll give you the name. But there's a certain protein molecule that you get from meats that your body needs in terms of protection against allergies and stuff like that. Yeah. So a lot of vegans struggle with certain allergies, whether it be, I don't know, whatever allergies, okay? And they develop like skin allergies, this allergy, bloated allergies, a range of different allergies. And then they feel weak, they feel low on energy, all of these kinds of things. And they don't have a healthy pregnancy, or they don't have a healthy life in general, whether they're pregnant or not. So you need that protein. So you've got to figure out how you're going to supplement that protein into your diet, if you're not willing to eat the meat. So yeah, it's important we just make it balanced, like you say,
Yeah, I mean, this is we're not going to get through everything today because it's just physically impossible. But there are some other key components. Now, what would those other key components be? What would you suggest people do?
Okay, so number one is perhaps change the chores that you're doing. So if you are a how do they refer to it now? A stay at home mom, or you at home, you're doing chores, right? You have daily chores that you do. Lighten your load a little bit. Be careful about how you're lifting things, moving things around. If that's the case, just be more cognizant of how your body feels when you're doing things. The other thing is that also, changing your shoes, get more comfortable shoes. If you're a lady that wears high heels a lot, I don't recommend wearing high heels when you're pregnant. Yet I see many women walking around in like platform high heels, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? But again, it's about vanity and ego many times.
Yeah, style takes precedence.
it's not about the health and safety of myself and my baby. It's about what do I look like in public. And then exercise. Now, I know this is a very touchy subject with exercise and movement when we're pregnant, because in many cultures today, still they shun their ladies, their women from exercising when they're pregnant.
No, I'd say I'd go the other way.
Yeah, you want to be moving. It's so important that you're moving. Obviously, in your first trimester, you know, your baby's still developing. You don't want to be overheating your body too often, too much. You want to keep your body temperature at a constant as much as you possibly can, because it's just a safe environment for that fetus, you know, that newly developing fetus. So you want to be aware of that. So therefore, light exercising would be ideal. You know, it could be a nice stationary cycle, you know, or get on a bicycle and go cycle somewhere, but casually, you know, maybe go for a swim, yoga, Pilates, just some basic mobility exercises using your own body weight if you're strong enough to do that. If you're not, then don't. But something that is light where you're not going to overexert yourself too much. And then through the different stages of your pregnancy, you can up the game a little bit if you've already started to exercise before you fell pregnant. If you've never exercised in your life before and you're looking at having a baby, I would recommend start exercising now. You know, get your body in that state where it's used to exercising. It's not going to be a major shock to your system, because when you exercise and you're pregnant, the benefit on you and the baby is it's huge. You know, and from a health, just from a longevity perspective point of view, your baby's going to benefit from you as a mother that's active. You know, you don't. And I think people discount the benefit of, or the knock-on effect of, you know, what they're doing when they're pregnant and how the baby becomes or responds, and who that person becomes when they get older. You know, you understand?
Yeah.
Like for example, I'll give you a classic example, just personal. When my mother was pregnant with my two older brothers, she didn't really do much sports-wise. She did nothing really. Before she was pregnant with me, and I was what they call the light lamaki. I was the late lamb. So this is a few years later. My mother was playing club tennis, competitive tennis, when she was pregnant, before she was pregnant with me. And while she was pregnant with me, she still played tennis until 7 months into her pregnancy, when eventually one day she realized, I've got to stop now. Okay. And I mean, if you look at me today, look how active I am, Paul. My brothers are not active.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree that what happens while they're pregnant is a knock-on effect of what's going to happen to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I realise that, especially, and that's everything. It's not just one thing.
Yeah. So,
but
and then the other thing is, obviously, again, cut out alcohol, cut out tobacco completely, and intimacy and sexual intercourse is. I encourage it. You know, I say do it because it's safe, as long as it's safe and it's healthy. It's a healthy thing to do. You know, as long as you don't have any complications that don't permit you from having intercourse. But if you have a normal pregnancy, by all means, be intimate with your partner. You know, have sex. It's a healthy thing to do, I believe, and science has shown this as well. So, also write a plan as well, and I think this is a great thing for peace of mind. You know, write a pregnancy plan, or write a plan as to what do you want to, you know, do through the pregnancy. What stages? What are you going to do in each stage? And also, like, what are you going to do before the pregnancy and also after the pregnancy? Write a plan for that. You know, it may seem a bit too much, but
bit like a food diary, but maybe a pregnancy diary.
Yeah, and it just gives you peace of mind. It's something, and it can also be a great memory for you to go back to one day. You know, and then educate yourself. Just educate yourself. Give yourself more power and more knowledge and more confidence in what it is that you're doing. It's not just your life. You have another life that's inside there. So educate yourself about it.
Okay, so we covered regular exercise. We've covered a balanced diet. We've covered appropriate and timely vitamins and minerals. But we just want to mention appropriate weight gain? Because you know that obviously some people let themselves go when they're pregnant, and that's their personal choice. I'm not going to get involved in that, but I would always suggest appropriate weight gain. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. And this is why I said some ladies, like, they're pregnant and they start putting on weight and they start freaking out. Yeah, you're pregnant for 9 months. It's not the rest of your life. So yeah, it's appropriate weight gain. You want to be feeling healthy. You want to be looking healthy, and and I say looking healthy, I mean you don't want to be a mother that's pregnant and looks gaunt, or you look tired all the time. I often when I see ladies that are pregnant and they're glowing, I know they're healthy.
Oh yes, some of them really glow, don't they?
Yeah.
Some don't, but it all depends on what you do and what you consume, your attitude to everything, and how much exercise you get in and things like that. So, what about relaxation? Would you?
Yeah, I mean, get your 7 to 8 hours sleep a day, as much as you can. Okay. Find something that helps you to feel as comfortable as possible when you're in bed, sleeping, and then just take rests through the day, especially as you move into your second and third trimester.
Wonderful power naps.
Yeah, just get those little blocks of rest, and like you say, power naps as often as you can through the day, because that is going to help your body to replenish and regenerate. It's going to help your mind to stay, where you don't get ratty and all these other, you get irritated or feeling anxious. And then again, so what some mothers struggle with is they feel anxious while they're pregnant because they get pressure on the diaphragm through the pregnancy. So that, if you feel anxious, if you go back, if you put yourself into an anxious state now, think of the last time you were anxious about something, and you put yourself into the anxious state, and you try to pinpoint where in the body you feel that. That's in your diaphragm. And a lot of mothers that are pregnant, they feel that pressure on the diaphragm, which is natural.
It tightens up.
It tightens up, and then they feel anxious a lot. So breathing is imperative in this case. Breathe. Find some breathing exercises that will help you to get some deep breaths through your body on a regular basis, and start practicing that throughout the day so that it becomes natural for you. And if you've had COVID, for example, okay, breathing is one of the issues relating to COVID. So if you've had COVID and you've experienced breathing problems while you were sick, then that's going to have a long-term effect on you. It's going to be a prolonged symptom of COVID. So you want to be practicing breathing exercises even more then, so to ensure that you don't feel that anxiousness, that anxiety and stress and stuff like that, which is not really, it's not a mental thing in this case. It becomes a physical thing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one thing I left out earlier was when you're preparing food, obviously be safe and be clean, and make sure you're doing everything right, even more so than normal. So I think that's important. The last thing, there was a couple of other things as well. The other key components was I wrote down community and communication. Be in touch with people, have people to talk to, whether they're professionals or just a friend. Very, very important, because there are things that might come up that you don't understand, and you might shelve them, thinking, I'll talk to someone later about it. No, talk to someone about it now. Find out about it while it's fresh in your memory. But community is very, very important. Some people, they hibernate type of thing. They'll get in their bunker, and that doesn't help you. You need to be talking to people and in regular contact. Maybe it's mum, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's friends, or a combination of all of those.
In some places they have communities, like communities for pregnant mothers, for pregnant ladies, where they get together a couple of times a week. So and that's important. That's, if you're listening to this and you live in an expat country, like in the Middle East somewhere, or somewhere where you're an expat, you're a foreigner to the country where you're living in, and you don't know a lot of people, then find a community like that. Look for a community of pregnant ladies where you can meet up with them and get together. And again, it's meeting up with people and being around people regularly is so important, because you're also providing a lot of love and support for your baby by being around people that are there to care for you.
Yeah.
And your baby feels that. Your baby your baby's under less stress because you're being taken care of, and your baby feels more relaxed as well. And then on top of that, you're strengthening your immune system, or you're keeping your immune system strong by interacting and engaging with different people, and being out, like for example, outdoors gardening. You're boosting your immune system, which in turn keeps your baby's immune system naturally strong as well. So when your baby is born, your baby's going to have a naturally strong immune system as a result of that, as opposed to being isolated, because now you're blocking yourself out from all kinds of things that are natural for the body to be experiencing, on a bacterias and things like this on a daily basis. It's natural for us to be in contact with those kinds of things. It's unnatural to be isolated and in a pristine, sanitized environment. Because you will find babies will be born with lower immune systems, because the baby never got any of that during the pregnancy, so the body was not able to learn how to fight off those different bacteria or whatever, to protect itself. And then when it is confronted, the body doesn't know what to do. So these are also, again, community is so important in that sense.
And that which leads us on to our last bit that we want to talk about, and that's omega-3, polyunsaturated fats, because it's very, very important. Why is it important? I mean, you've got normal brain function, not only for the mother, but for the child. Growth and development, very, very important. They need the DHA, which, I'm not even going to go into saying the whole what that is, but it's a part of the omega-3 fatty acids. For things like visual and mental development, the baby's eye structure. Also, stable blood pressure is another thing. Heart function. And bear in mind that for a woman, a pregnancy is very physically and emotionally demanding.
Yes.
So it's very, very important that they get a quality, and I mean a quality omega-3.
Not just one that you get off the shelf at your Discam, or at even what's the popular one in the UK?
There's quite a few actually.
You've got Holland and Barrett and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
even there, you're not going to get a real good quality omega-3. I'm going to read some stuff here from a study that was done.
Absolutely, far away, mate.
This was done. Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology from Brigham and Women's Hospital, and also Boston Harvard Medical School, that kind of stuff. So I'm just reading some highlighted passages from the study. Omega-3 fatty acids are critical for fetal neurodevelopment and may be important for the timing of gestation and birth weight as well. Most pregnant women likely do not get enough omega-3 fatty acids. That we know. We know that statistically, that most people in general, let alone pregnant women, do not get enough omega-3 fatty acids in their body. We know that for a fact. Okay. So you could be getting this from certain types of fish where there's low levels of mercury in the fish, like sardines, pilchards, herring, these kinds of things. You can be getting some good quality omega-3 in there, but you need to eat copious amounts of that. And I don't think many pregnant women want to be eating loads of fish all the time. Just some other highlighted points here. Women in the fish oil group. So this was obviously a study, so they had different groups in the study, but women in the fish oil group had a gestational period of 4 days longer than women taking either olive oil or no supplement at all. And the babies born to the women in the fish oil group also weighed 107 grams more than babies born to the women in the olive oil group, and 43 grams more than those born to those mothers without supplementation. Okay, all right. They concluded that children had a higher mental processing scores when born to mothers supplemented with cod liver oil, which is also rich in EPA and DHA and omega-3s, okay, during pregnancy and lactation. Yeah.
So pretty important.
When evaluated at 2.5 years of age, children in the fish oil supplemented group had higher scores of eye and heart and hand coordination compared to those in the olive oil group. All right. And then in the study, higher DHA cord blood concentration was related to longer gestation, better visual activity, mental and psychomotor skills at 6 months and 11 months, suggesting that raising DHA concentrations alone may independently yield some benefits. So this is something like what Paul touched on. You touched on, Paul, right? That babies that are born from mothers that are supplementing with high-grade quality omega-3s, they have longer levels of concentration. Also, studies have shown that lower propensity to ADHD and other mental disorders, with even things like autism, for example. Okay. Better eyesight and better brain development overall through the pregnancy. And I've touched on this before as to why, is because during the third trimester, the baby's brain is developing at its fastest pace in the eyes. Okay, so now what's happening is the baby's drawing from the mother in order to supplement the need for what the brain requires and the eyes require. So if and this is why mothers experience brain fog in the third trimester, where they forget everything and they can't remember what they spoke about 2 minutes ago, that kind of stuff. So this is why it's so important to also supplement with omega-3. We don't just say this because that's what we do. We say this because it's science and it's beneficial for you and your families. That's why we say this. If we didn't say it, we would be doing a massive disservice to you as a mother to be or an expectant mother.
Absolutely. And we have health protocols in place that take care of all of this. So, Warren, are we there, do you think, now? I mean, obviously, you could go and talk about it all day, obviously.
I think we're done and dusted. I think we've said more than that needs to be said.
We'll consider whether we need to come and do a bit of a clean-up next week. Not 100% sure what the show's going to be on next week, but...
or what feedback we're going to get from this show.
Yeah, the feedback
we might need to do a part 2 for this.
So all these ladies are going to come in and say... we don't mind. If we've got something wrong, tell us.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, let me go back to what I said at the beginning. Please be the first to like the video on Facebook or YouTube. Love it, preferably, because that's better for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the page, healthylife.tv. Please leave a comment, get involved in dialogue. We like to be able to speak to people. And and if you think someone could benefit by sharing this, then please do. Yeah. So with that, indeed, I'm gonna say goodbye. Warren, if anything else you want to say?
Arrivederci.
We'll see you next week on healthylife.tv, and have a fantastic week. See you later.
Have a wonderful week. Enjoy.
See ya.